Google's Gemini was basically what we would all kind of say as, whoa.
Cybersecurity is freaking huge now.
What happens if it freezes?
Yeah, it shuts the job down.
I mean, how long, if the things did get nefarious, how long before that thing just snap your neck in the middle of the night? Like,
if we gave AI the task, I don't care how long it takes you, find a cure for cancer. The problem is, the pharmaceutical companies and the doctors don't want that because they make too much money. I want AI for my search results. It's not.
It's not always perfect, right?
Oh my God, did it again. You fucking cunt. Okay. Anyway.
You crack me up sometimes, man.
When I'm yelling at inanimate objects.
Somebody's got to yell at them. What are you going to do?
Well, it's better me yelling at them than yelling at the wife or kids, so I guess.
Right. Although, that's kind of funny too sometimes.
You know, that's how I was raised. My mom, she's like, when you get mad, when you want to punch something, punch pillow. She's like, the pillow don't fucking care.
That's true, but it's also getting that anger out through a physical way. Have you seen the have you seen the trend of people on construction sites? They'll show the videos on Instagram. Somebody get mad at something.
Left hand anger.
Left hand anger. Left hand anger. I love it.
I can't wait till I can do that on the job. It should be
a standard practice.
Oh my God.
Every time somebody flips out. Left-handed anger or right-handed, just in case maybe.
Right.
You definitely have to know if somebody was a southpaw or not.
Right.
So.
All right, man.
You think you're good?
This is your deal. Let's spin down this fucking rabbit hole, brother.
All right. I like it, man.
Love it.
Welcome, everybody, to the I Shower After Work podcast. John and I are in the job trailer once again. As always, you can find us on all the socials at ISAW Podcast. Definitely check out the Buy Us a Beer app on our website, isawpodcast.com, and help out this free little podcast that you're enjoying right now, and hopefully help John and I continue to grow in the future. But anyways, that's the biz. Buddy, how are you today?
I am good, man. We are actually after work this time.
We're actually after work this time, yeah. And it's a very uncommon during the work week recording, but it's summertime now, so John and I can't always be in the trailer on Saturdays. We got shit to do, as you all understand.
Yeah. Well, we got shit that we like to do.
Well, that's true. Yes, we like to do this, but we also have other things that would be just as interesting. So,
right.
We got something different today, buddy. We've all heard over the last few years, at least, definitely the last year, 18 months, all the advancements in artificial intelligence, digital intelligence, machine learning. I mean, I don't know about you, man, but every other commercial I see now is sponsored by such and such a AI.
Right.
Right. I mean, everything. Like, I'm waiting for the next shampoo to come out that's AI developed shape. Like, I don't know what they're doing anymore, right? Everything is AI, right? Which is okay. And we've said before that if anybody wanted to hear a topic that we could talk about, even if it's not construction related, but we'll be able to get both of these going kind of today. We have our first episode request, which is why we're going to talk about AI today. One of our OG listeners, John Littlefield, sent us this, I should say, on our website. Can't wait to hear what the both of your takes are on AI, not only on the job site, but also in general. I think it should make for an interesting listen. Keep up the great work, brothers. Thank you. Your show helps the day go by faster. And is it very funny and interesting. Thank you, John Littlefield, OG listener John.
Thank you very much, man.
So that's what you get today. John sent us in a request what he wanted to hear about. And our John is going to get into it with me. What do you know about artificial intelligence, buddy?
Artificial intelligence, well, it's everywhere, right? It's getting into every single part of our lives. Our phone has AI. Our computers have AI. You've got simpler forms of AI. You got Lexus. You got Google. You've got all of that voice command. That's all AI.
Right. In various forms, right? And we're going to get into, that's the thing. We're going to talk about some of the various forms today.
Right. And you got it across the board. You've got most of the ads that you see now, even in this short period of time, most of the ads that you see are AI.
I have this on my list as well. Continue, yeah.
Just, it's integrating into every part of our lives. And unfortunately, man, I don't like it, but unfortunately it's coming into construction and it's already been there.
It's coming into construction. So I know for everybody who's been a long-time listener, we did touch on this briefly during our technology episode.
Yeah. And that's why John wants us to dive a little deeper.
Yeah, he wanted to hear a little different. So, I mean, during the technology episode, I mean, we talked about things like ordering and workflow and safety and planning of designing project things. So we'll dig in a little deeper to some of that today, because that's what he asked about. But here's what gets me, man. Not only is it affecting the construction trades, but everything, like you just said. And there's so many different types of these machine learning, not just apps, programs.
Yes.
It's when we started to research this, I don't know about you, man, I found it sort of mind-boggling. Like, this was a real live rabbit hole.
Oh, yeah.
The deepest
Bigger
one I've
than life.
come across in a long time.
Yep. 100% agree.
Yeah, we had this request from John a while back and needed some time to dig in and figure out what can we actually bring up without spinning into the weeds, which anybody who's listening, we're going to spin into the weeds a little here.
But
So let's start with what we know for sure from the construction standpoint, how it's going to affect us, buddy.
Yep.
Do you see, other than what everybody's worried about, and I'm just going to bring it up real quick at the start here, because occasionally I will say something repeatedly during an episode because it's the thought in my head that sums it up. Mm-hmm. It's going to cost jobs. There's no way around it. Irregardless of the industry that you're in, everything I looked at, it's going to cost jobs. So it's going to come up a few times today, but that's my overall view of what I saw here. Yes, right. Is it going to be helpful? Sure. But I mean, what do you think, man?
I think with the AI operated machines, those are the ones that are going to be taking jobs, especially in the construction industry. But I think, and that's the part I don't like, but I hate to say it, I'm a skeptic. Everybody that knows me knows I'm a skeptic, right? I can ride both sides of the fence. I can see both perspectives. I just watched a video and read an article about an AI operated, AI integrated roofing machine.
I saw that same video. Yep.
Right. In certain aspects, one, that machine needs help getting started. So somebody needs to be there and somebody's still controlling it. It's a remote controlled, but it has built-in AI sensors and stuff like that. But you know what? So that sucks because it's going to take away roofers' jobs if it becomes popular.
Sure it is.
Right. But at the same time, you get some of these roof pitches that are, 12-2 pitch and 12-1 pitch. And these guys, I'd rather see a machine fall off a roof than a person.
Absolutely would. And I'm not even talking about taking away all the jobs in something specific.
Yep.
But even 20%, that's a big number. 30%, that's a big number.
That's a huge number. At the same, I hate the thought of having machines on the job because it takes away the quality craftsmanship.
It does.
That we hold so dear in the construction trades.
It does. And we've talked in the past that there are certainly groups and businesses and individuals and customers who will trade speed and efficiency and cost for quality in some cases.
Yep.
For us as tradespeople, it's hard to let some of that go.
Yep.
So if you don't mind, man, let me take a real quick step back here. I just want to get into a few different versions of what this could be that we're talking about so that we're not cross-talking over too many things. All right.
So that's hard, right? Because
it's going to be hard to do with this one, folks.
Yeah,
so bear with us, right? Because there's a lot of information about this. Basically, what we're talking about is AI covers so many different types of systems and programs now. It's basically any variation of something that can find patterns in just mind-boggling amounts of data, whether it's you asking Siri a question who looks it up on the internet and finds you an answer or whatever, right?
Yep.
Or a bigger portion of that where they've actually got what they now call machine learning, where they're putting tasks to computer programs, writing interconnected algorithms, basically trying to map a human brain, kind of.
Right.
So we learn, and it makes neuron connections in our brain.
Yep.
And now you have that experience, good or bad, more often. That's how we learn, but you keep all those experiences.
Yep. They're
now doing that with machines, only they have the experience of the internet.
Right.
They have all the experiences so young, smart Joe, like I call him Joe, the smartest kid I know, young fella, he kind of laid it out for me.
Right.
That's basically what they're doing. And there are small versions, and then there are gigantic versions that can control massive amounts of things or can answer so many pieces of data. It all depends on what they want to use it for and how much time and money and power and et cetera that you know more about that they want to put into it.
Right.
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 So you had mentioned to me that a lot of this AI stuff started with a certain part of the technology, something about video games we had talked about, right?
Yeah. Well,
Lay that out.
So when it comes to it didn't really start that way, but the people that are behind video games and video graphics cards are what's running the AI because they operate at higher frequencies. They run faster. NVIDIA, I'll call them out by name. NVIDIA is a huge graphics card company that is behind what's running the AI.
Okay.
They're developing processors and graphics cards that are designed to do this, running trillions of calculations and trillions of information in a split second.
Okay.
Right? Terabytes of information. Terabytes. Right? So they're really kind of heading up the push on it because they can. And why wouldn't you? Now, the deal is I listened to an interview from the CEO of NVIDIA, and he said what they're really going for and what he sees coming down the pipe is when it comes to coding and programming, nobody's going to be doing that now. It's all going to be AI coding and programming.
Right. Why would you spend massive amounts of money to have a location with programmers sit in front of their computer working 8, 10, whatever hours a day when you can now put all that money and time and power and energy into a program? They can do it 24 hours a day, much, much faster, less mistakes, etc. Do I have an understanding of?
Yeah, pretty much. But you still got to have somebody behind the scenes. You still got to have checks and balances.
Certainly do.
Because let's say, like you just said, right? You have all of the information of the internet that's being fed into this AI brain structure.
Right.
The fucking internet's a dumpster fire. Right?
Exactly. Right.
So it's only as good as the information given to it. Right?
Okay, so we're going to get into the construction part of this as we go. We're going to bebop around a little, folks. Like I said, bear with us today. I can give a perfect example of that.
Oh, please do.
So Google's Gemini, which is their... Have you heard about this?
I use it.
Okay. Gemini had a real problem because these programs are only as good as the people who develop them. And whether you want to or not, part of your personality and your beliefs and things can go into your job.
They
right?
absolutely do. Yes.
Google's Gemini was basically what we would all kind of say as woke. So as an example, they ask it some simple stuff like generate images of the founding fathers of America.
Right.
I'm not saying it's negative or positive, but it wouldn't show white people. It had to show people of color. They asked it about ancient Greek warriors, and it showed Asian women because it was too woke to show them all as men. Asking about Nazi soldiers, and there wasn't a white face in the group. The programming of it has a factor too. So it's not like it's learning the truth, because as you say, the internet is a dumpster fire. It's also learning from the people's beliefs who are asking it the questions and responding about what it should show. It's not perfect, buddy.
Right.
And if we're using it for things, to jump down the road of the conversation a little bit here, and those things aren't using accurate information, but the beliefs of the people who programmed it or the beliefs of people on the internet, because is it learned that's how people think?
Yep.
Well, that's not what we need. We need something that's going to act on fact.
Right.
But that's me.
But at the same time, the people that are factual are not the ones making the most noise online, right? The people that are woke are the ones making the most noise online. They're getting the most traction online, right?
Yes.
So when you give a AI program, I hate to say it, but free will to scour the internet for information
To learn,
it's going to pick up all of the loud noise, right? And the biggest problem I see with AI on the internet side too is when it comes to artists and creators.
certainly.
Right. So artists, these images are being pulled from AI. They're stealing them from the artist. They're scalping the internet. Right. And they're pulling all these images. The artists aren't getting compensated for it because there's no way to track it. And they're just kind of shit out of luck.
Buddy, I put in a list, and I'm just looking at it right now, of pros and cons of this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the biggest ones I had in there was artists, art in general.
Mm-hmm.
Art's going to take the biggest hit. Painting, music, whatever you want to think of. Even writing scripts, writing news art. You, like I said, you're stealing it right out from under them.
Yep.
When you can, in a moment, ask it, hey, Chat GPT or whatever you want to use, write me a song in the style of
Beethoven,
Tom Petty and Beethoven and Snoop Dogg.
Yep.
And just like that, you got it.
Yep.
Now all they got to do is not use the people's names. Hey, adjust the voice a little, and all of a sudden you got a fake artist that now will do anything you want, and now real artists
are screwed
out of business, basically.
Yep.
Now, will people still in the short term want to go see a concert? Sure, they will. Real live artists will still exist.
Yep.
But man, it's going to be a struggle to keep up with, especially a generation that will look at a concert on their phone.
Yeah.
On YouTube, etc.
Yep.
They don't care that they can't go to the forum and see so-and-so.
Yep.
I can see the fake digital image they made for my new album.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Absolutely.
That's going to be a problem.
We're running into it in the high schools. And I say that because I have kids. Kids are turning in papers that are created by ChatGPT. And all they have to do is get it to write it, swap out a couple of paragraphs, type up a new one by themselves, and ChatGPT won't know that it made it.
If I may, there's some people, teachers specifically, found an end around for this. I'm glad you brought it up, man. All right. I found this at openai.com. It's one of the leaders, quote unquote, call themselves leaders in AI, right?
Right.
What teachers have been doing will be when they send out the typed out email or whatever it is about the particular assignment, they will put in the same matching background color typed out of words that would never be in let's say you're doing a project on clothing development in America, whatever, right?
Okay.
The teacher will say in the same background color so the student can't read it, but the AI ChatGPT will pick it up. I want this project to include the words spaghetti and Frankenstein or something totally random. And they'll know if they use ChatGPT because ChatGPT can see that even though you can't visually see it. A lot of teachers and professors have been using that to screw the students from cheating.
Oh, I love that.
And they pick random words that would have nothing to do with it. And you instantaneously know they just go scanning through like Frankenstein, cheater, spaghetti, cheater.
Oh, that is fantastic.
I love it. Until the kids catch on to that, which smart kids are going to catch on. But that'll catch a lot of the stupid cheaters who don't know these things, don't think to look for them, right?
Right.
Another little tidbit I got from Smart Joe. So shout out to Smart Joe, the smartest kid I know.
Don't give away their secrets. Right. Let the teachers rock their shit for a while.
Right. So we talk about that, but let's swing back to construction for just a split second. So
yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, we've seen a lot lately about a more efficient job site. So let's say it's things that won't cost as many jobs to start with. The more efficient ordering and monitoring of what material you have on hand and what you're going to need coming up.
Yeah.
That's going to be a way that businesses really see a value. That's going to be the real first thing we see.
Right. And that's all based on data analytics.
Right.
And the problem is when it comes to ordering material, because manpower is in there too.
Certainly it is. Yeah.
Right. AI will be able to tell, hey, you need to get more guys here, more workers,
or less,
or less. You can adjust. The problem is, it has to be given solid information repetitively to create that timing, to create the needs
in real time,
right? Which we don't get on the job site. I don't give a fuck how organized you are, because like the conversation we had, we have a question that needs answered. We need an RFI. Okay, so put that into AI. Let the AI figure it out. Well, by the time they get all the data for that RFI and gets it spit back, there's already 5 more questions that you have to add to that, and it changes.
Right. So it really needs to be, let's say it is one for a specifically big job site. There's a big building going up, right? A 50-story high-rise or whatever. Yeah, you can have somebody who's making sure the information in real time is getting in as best you can.
Yeah.
It's not even so much that for me that's a concern, although that is going to be the first step. That's how it's going to go.
Yep.
It's when it starts to become the other parts of the job. So efficiency, hiring manpower, or laying people off, right?
Yep.
If the companies rely on that too much for hiring and firing, can the computer and the AI and the algorithm see the nuance of, listen, Jason wasn't as efficient as John was, but does it understand that the project I was having ran into 3 or 4 problems? Or
Right.
it was missing material, or I got a wrong answer, or there's another trade in the way that week?
Right.
Are there people who are going to lose their job because the computer thinks, quote unquote, well, you weren't as efficient. So
Right.
we got to lay 2 people off. The computer spits out, yeah, Jason and Stan are going.
Yep.
But man, I couldn't get my shit done faster because the fucking plumbers were in the way.
Right.
I didn't get my material on time. Thought the AI was supposed to solve that. Like, it's a slippery slope that could cause problems for...
100%. You're right on the money. If you start relying on it too much, over-reliance on AI will be the death of a company.
It's not going to be good.
No.
It could be great.
Yeah, but it won't be.
Yeah, I'm worried you're going to see the bottom line too much, and you're going to get too many companies who, like you say, are reliant on it.
Yep.
Yeah, that sounds like death from 1,000 cuts. The death of 1,000 cuts is what that is, I think. Right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And let's look at the other bad shit, horrible fucking things on the job
Lay it
site,
on me, buddy.
right? So facial recognition. This is already happening. Facial recognition on a job site. Your face is scanned when you enter the job site and when you leave, when you take breaks. And that's how they're doing payroll. Well, I'm sorry. That's bullshit. That's basically Big Brother saying, hey, you were here 5 minutes late.
This is the problem.
I got, if on a foreman, I'm getting so spun up. As a foreman on a job, right? If I have a guy that either has to come in late, say 15 minutes late. Hey, I had to take my kid here, daycare, school's all fucked up. I had to drop him off this morning, which is out of the norm. I'm paying him for those 15 minutes. I'm still going to give him 8 because shit happens.
Absolutely.
Right?
Now, do companies want us doing that? Some companies are understanding that, yes, you keep your staff happy. Other companies want to be right down to the numbers. No, man, save that 15 minutes.
Right.
That goes in the bottom line.
Right.
That affects my bonus, right?
Yep.
That is a problem there.
Yep.
And then it comes down to, does a person in charge then have to somehow relay that information beyond themselves to make sure that the AI tracking system didn't fuck that person over? And isn't that a waste of time and efficiency?
Right.
Tomato, how are we going to handle all this?
Right.
The personnel tracking is a big one, right?
And then let's look at the security of the data that it's collecting.
Okay.
Right. So on a job site, there's a lot of moving parts.
Certainly.
If you're taking all that information and sending it into your office where your AI is based in your server, it is reaching out and grabbing things all the time, right? It's going through the door and coming back in the door with information.
Sure.
Those are open fucking doors for data breaches.
Oh, definitely.
Right? Which will take a company, right? A bad data breach can ruin a company, right? All the information, all the billing, all the scheduling, all the money coming in and out of the accounting department, all the credit card numbers that we have, phone numbers, email, like
it's, yes, that's also true. And it's not even just the actual data breach, if not using it against employees of the company, right?
Right.
Yes, that's a concern for people too, right? But even if it's a matter of they learn your patterns or they use the algorithm to change one little shipping thing for you. No, you don't need express shipping on everything. You're fine with 2 days. And then that affects your job site and affects that job. And then the company there's so many little things they can adjust to really screw you over. And the more that we put into things like this, it may even not be a competitor trying to do it for a financial gain. It might be a jaded former employee who's kind of slick about stuff and starts making 10 accounts or 50 accounts on the internet, putting in bad reviews against your company, other algorithms that now pick up that stuff to decide who gets jobs, government contract.
Yep.
It can be adjusted so much, even if it's not nefarious.
Right.
It might not be just for me. I want to screw the other company over. I just want to screw any other company over. So mine is better by comparison.
Right.
The availability of what they can do, like you said, data breaches, even if it's not stealing data, but using it for itself.
Yep. Cybersecurity is freaking huge now.
Man, listen, anybody listening, you got a few bucks to invest in people who are looking to secure companies against negative, intrusive algorithms and AI, because that's going to be the future here real soon.
Yep.
Those are going to be big organizations.
But then what does AI, I have a question for you.
Please.
What do you think AI is going to do on the ethics side of the construction industry? Like, do you think that it's going, because AI don't care about bias or ethics, but it's given that with the information given. Like,
okay. All right. So yes, you're right. Okay. You bring up another point. I'm going to come back exactly to what you just said. Okay. You said that it doesn't care about the ethics, and that may be true. But from what I've read, they don't really know what it's going to be able to do. So let's assume for this case, you're right. Let's start with where you're at, okay? It's not Skynet. It's just a machine learning algorithm that's doing what you asked it to do based on the constraints of what you want. Mm-hmm. You're absolutely right, man. Let's say it was something as simple as, and I say simple, but I mean, the people who know what they're doing seem to be pretty good at this. Let's just say it's safety on a job site. Mm-hmm. All right. Now AI controls all of the heavy equipment in a very basic way. They're not driving them. There's still drivers on site, operators.
They're monitoring.
Right? And if they notice there's a pedestrian in the way and this person is driving at too fast a speed, and the AI can go, nope, shut it down, put the brakes on.
Oh, God.
Great. So,
okay. Being in a JLG, having the bucket lifted, driving forward.
Right. Yeah. Where the algorithm now tells you there's an unsafe condition to make some sort of adjustment.
Yep.
I don't know if I want a computer program offsite to have that kind of control of things. And once you start to relinquish even a simple control like that, now it's a real slippery slope to, well, we may as well just let it drive the equipment, then we'll never have any accidents. Fuck you.
Yeah, no, you still have to have, no, fuck you. Yeah. No, I don't like that at all. I'm not for that.
Nobody likes that.
No. Nope.
But can you not see?
Go get bent.
Right. But can you not see that would be, especially if you were an insurance company who insures big construction projects, if the people running that say, hey, listen, we've run all the numbers, we've run it through the AI, our system that controls all the heavy equipment on your site, our instances of wasted time and injury go down by 40%, 30%. How many companies
Even
aren't
10%?
How many companies aren't going to jump right down that?
Right. But at the same time, so God, you bring up a really good point, especially when it comes to safety and stuff. Even if it was monitoring it and say that it was watching that you were doing unsafe activities, you were driving with the bucket too far up in the air. You were having this long swing over.
Right.
Oh, and it's GPS located, like, because it has a map of the.
Can it understand the nuance of, I've known for years what the equipment does. I know I can't go up here and go over there because something's in the way, or it's a windy day, or you don't understand that there's personnel over there, so I have to do this.
Right.
How much does it understand?
Right.
And if it doesn't understand enough, and that's what I was originally getting at, once it affects our jobs because it doesn't quite understand the nuances of construction specifically.
Right. Dude, if I was up in a JLG and it shut it down, I'd be so pissed.
Even started to change its direction.
Yeah. Something.
Right. Now, I say shut it down because unless you're talking about, which may be the future, it's not anywhere near right now, but if it got to the point where AI was doing, it would need cameras everywhere to see all these things and make all these decisions. Yep. Like you said, a completely integrated work site. There are some now, but it's not widespread, right?
We're not far off. Jason, they got them in the vehicles.
They got them in the vehicles.
The exact same that we're talking about. The cameras, the backup sensors, the lock up the brakes, forward drive sensors. They're in the cars that we drive.
Right. I'm
fuck me.
I'm concerned, right?
I don't. No. Take AI, burn that fucking machine.
Right. Now, don't get me wrong. Let me change tack just for a split second. Right? There are some good things, even about that. Okay. Let's say that's the only control it had. Okay. Some basic safety bonuses. Mm-hmm. If there's some sort of algorithm tracking the job site, we got chips in the hard hats. We talked about it during the technology episode, whatever. Right. Your name tag or your ID lets them know where You haven't moved in a while. Somebody goes and notify, go check on this guy's, or he was close to that machine and that machine had a problem. Those things, safety, I'm great with safety.
Right.
The number of people on a job site, if something tragic happens, they can locate. I'm all about it. Even business efficiency through ordering and scheduling, and I don't like the manpower thing. We're going to talk about it later. But if that makes a company more successful and viable, and it's a company I work for, I want my company to be successful and viable. It's not all negative. We can only kind of see our own perspective sometimes, right?
Right. Right.
And like say, reducing risk is great for me. It's the areas where it could go two different ways. And I think construction is one of those. So a slightly separate comparison, all right? If they start to use these systems to control the most basic things we can think of, so take traffic control as example.
Yep.
Adjusting lights, adjusting patterns, things like that to help just citywide traffic run more efficiently. Mm-hmm. It could probably be really great. But what happens when all of a sudden that becomes too much control? It's not just traffic, it's road planning, construction planning based on historical. Now other companies have to adjust their schedule. It could get spun up into such a mess all of a sudden, man. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. And I don't even know where to take that one because it makes my fucking head hurt.
And that's why I think John, shout out John Littlefield for a fun one here. I think that's why he wanted to hear about it, right? Because it can go so many different directions. What happens when two of these programs say two different things?
Oh, right.
We haven't even talked about that. What if the answer that these two, the safety computer program algorithm and the efficiency safety, what happens when those two things say something different?
Yeah, which one overrides? Which one has the bigger voice?
In the heat of the moment, not when you say there's going to be controls. There's still people behind the scenes monitoring things. There has to be for at least for a while, right?
Yep.
I mean, in the split second decisions, what happens when those two things conflict?
Right. And I mean, AI can think really fast, but it doesn't know what we do.
No.
It doesn't know everything with our job. And it's fucking horrible for the construction industry.
Right. It's learning things on a massive scale.
Yep.
And I should say it's not one. Lots of different companies doing this. Countries, organizations. You know what I mean? It's not just one place somewhere trying to build an artificial intelligence.
Right.
Lots of different versions, scales, all that going on. How do they even start to implement this stuff?
Well, and when it comes to the construction industry, and I'm sorry, I'm like skipping because my brain's going 1,000 miles an hour talking about this, but we have what's called gray work.
Yep.
In our industry. And that is all of the meetings, the foreman meetings, the on the fly decisions that we have to make in order to make the project move.
Right.
If we sit there and have to rely on AI to make those decisions for us, oh, hey, this ductwork is in the way. It needs to move 3 feet to the left. If we wait for AI to do that, because AI is going to integrate into every single part. So it's going to try to redraw the plans to make it work. And it's going to take all these steps in order to make things fit, that you're going to get a plan sheet that looks like fucking garbage. Because all of the gray work that we have, we work with the plumbers, we work with the sprint guys, we work with the tinners. As an electrician, hey guys, I need this middle section down the hallway. You can put over top of me. You can do whatever.
Yeah.
And we do those decisions on the fly. And we can't integrate AI into that.
Absolutely right. And that's the prime example of why I mentioned the whole financial efficiency part of it. Until it can understand those nuances, I'm now maybe look less efficient because it doesn't understand gray work.
Right.
It doesn't understand the nuance of this. And all it knows maybe at the end of the day was when it's making some of these small nuanced decisions about who stays, who goes, who gets hired, this and that.
Yep.
Well, Jason put his pipes in 2.5 feet over from what the plan said. So that took him a little longer, and it wasn't the way it was supposed to be. So that brings his efficiency quotient, whatever it is, down a little bit.
Right.
Man, I don't like that sort of decision making getting made on my behalf by something I don't know.
But then that ties into what you were just talking about. If I go back to it, the two separate systems, you almost have to have a job site system and an office system, right? In order to get them to talk together. Because they both have to figure out everything split second, right? But in order to have an AI system that is on the job site and updated in real time and covering the gray work on the job site, you know how many cameras and sensors and bullshit that you'd have to have nonstop?
And here's one of the pros I had on my list. I know this is advancing at a rapid pace from what I understand, but those sort of interactions, and that's just two things.
Right.
If you then factored in, from the construction perspective, delivery of materials. No, your truck is scheduled to be there based on average time and traffic patterns. So now you're dealing with the company who's delivering it. You're dealing with the traffic pattern, AI, weather, maybe. You don't know what's going to... And then once they all start to interact like that, that's a long way off. That's a lot of things. That's a lot of balls in the air. I don't care how smart the damn thing is. That's a lot of we can't do that talking on the phone to each other in real time.
Right.
Come on. Like, you're right. The sensors and cameras and the amount of data that gets put in to make these decisions and
it's unrealistic.
Sudden, it's a glitch. All of a sudden we get like old computer glitches where you asked it to do too many things all at the same time and it couldn't run this video game, and all of a sudden it just freezes.
Right.
And
right.
This brings me from that pro right into one of the cons I had.
Mm-hmm.
If we all of a sudden become reliant on some of this stuff, or the company does, what happens? It freezes.
Yeah, it shuts the job down.
And that fucks up every other algorithm that was using this or that or whatever. It's a shit show, buddy.
So when it comes down to that, right? Like, if you're going to integrate these things, I mean, oh my God, man. Like, there are parts. Here's where I'm okay with AI being in the construction industry. This is the part that I'm okay with.
Okay.
In the fucking office.
Planning stage.
Planning stage.
Yep.
Billing. let that do that. Let it take all of their spreadsheets and all their extra bullshit and let it do that. Right. You know what? Let it make new toolbox talks for us. Sure. Why not? They're old and boring anyway. Let it write new toolbox talks.
For everybody listening, an interesting thing in the construction trade is we have these weekly, what they call a toolbox talk. They're usually about safety or don't get heat stroke or how to climb a ladder. Yeah.
Right.
And they're pretty dull and boring. And
Right. Let it make some new ones. Go ahead.
So, stuff like that would be all right. And even from your point that you just made, man, the planning part of it and even the adjustments on the fly, not on the site, but the background control.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm going to say this over and over. That will also take jobs, but it could help those things run a little more efficiently. And not to mention, those things are running 24/7, like almost any of these computer AI programs and machine learning programs are going to be doing. 24/7 is the kicker here to everything. Whether it's running the roofing machine that you were talking about, the shingle machine, whether it's the planning of the trucking. And I mean, we all know they're kind of getting on board with self-driving cars. Not trying to go down a rabbit hole there, but those sort of controls, they can start to run some things 24 hours a day when we can work, 8, 10, 12 realistically most of the time?
Right.
That's going to be troublesome for a lot of businesses when they can hand off certain controls on something that can just run all day, every day by being plugged into the wall.
Right. I remember our original conversation, right? And our original talk was...
I know where you're going with this.
I said to you, I'll worry about it when they figure out how to get a fucking robot down the hallway that we can barely get a fucking cart down.
Right.
And you had some great points. Hey, you know what? We're just not going to build that wall. But at the same time, if there's an open space on a construction project, there's usually something sitting there. Right.
And is that then, I say this joking, is that when the robot AI, and I don't mean 2 arms and 2 legs or whatever, but little Johnny Robot comes over and says, "Excuse me, sir," and they know what your name is because your ID chip is on your hard hat.
Right.
"I'm sorry, you can't put that material here. It's got to go somewhere else." Or they have an automated pallet jack robot, which I've seen at Amazon,
Yep.
that just
Yep.
comes over and moves that stuff out of the way and puts it somewhere else. Now, that part would be okay, actually.
That would be okay. If there was something that came up and talked to me on a job site, a little robot, and asked me and called me by name and asked me to move something, I'd accidentally have a possible 20-pound sledgehammer in my hand.
And that's when you get laid off because you're now anti-technology. And how long before the woke public, you got to treat the machines, you got to treat the AI, respect. AI has feelings,
Get
John.
fucked.
Right? See, but that's
It's a computer.
It's a fucking
Get
computer
fucked.
algorithm, right? But
Right.
how long before it tries to tell you? So, slight off topic here, okay? I heard recently that in the format of how they do this, they basically will take their original program, feed it as much information as they want or not want to try to get it to learn to do what they want. So let's say something simple as in construction. I want to be able to ask my AI, how can I make my small site building this single family dwelling more efficient? But when you feed that information in, you don't have a control of how it interprets it. So you then have to test your AI with questions or projects to figure out if it's understanding what you want it to understand.
Right.
And they had recently asked one to just say the word, and I'm not going to use the word because the people on the internet are going to know who I stole this from, Joe Rogan, to say the same word over and over again. So let's say the word was population. After a while, this program told them that this was causing it distress. Now, whether...
What?
No, hold on. Here's the thing. Okay, this is the issue. And this, I bring this up because of what I just made the joke about of people saying you have to care about the program's feelings, right? Because there will be people like that. But here's the question. Did that program understand enough about human nature, because it was attached to basically all of the internet, right? That any person doing a repetitive task over and over and over will eventually feel awful about themselves and it will be stressful and this and that? And did it say that it was uncomfortable because of that? Or are they actually making something that has feelings? And
no,
right, I don't think they are. I don't think they are either.
No.
But are there people out there who are going to be able to interpret that as that?
Oh, there's kinky, weird fucking people
You're going to
everywhere.
have goddamn protesters on the street going, "Free the AI! Fuck
Yeah.
you!" And Skynet. You need to watch every Terminator movie back to back for 24 hours. Shut the fuck up. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Right.
Now, I did almost get a Skynet sticker to put on my laptop. So just in case the AI takes over, it knows I'm an ally. But what are you going to do?
It's going to come shoot me because fuck that. No, computers, they don't have feelings. They don't have emotions. They can't actually. It's causing me distress. Fuck off.
Now, as I've said a million times on this show, and I'm going to say it again now, right? Devil's advocate, buddy. Oh, look, your cat loves me.
Again, fucking cat. Jesus.
We got to get the animals out of the job site, although they are cute. All right, so let's say, for example, buddy, just let me spin down a rabbit hole real quick with you, all right? Let's say that you're wrong. Because back in the day, people can't fly. That's crazy. People can't go to the moon, if you believe that. There's lots of things, right? You can't build a submarine to go to the bottom of the ocean. Maybe if these things are learning in a similar way to the human brain where all these connections are made and they have experiences, I don't know. Could it eventually develop a consciousness?
Well, I mean, if you teach something, look, computers think faster than we ever
could possibly imagine, right?
Ever. Right. Ever. And if you teach it how to do something and you teach it how to build a machine, it will build more of itself if needed.
And this, I mean, I know I said Skynet, so I pushed you down the wrong road here.
But the thought stands though, because, okay, hypothetical.
Yeah, that's the whole thing's hypothetical so far.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you tell an AI, hey, I need you to run this computation, right? And you give it, and the mathematician gives it some ungodly equation, right? And tells it, you need to figure this out. And it's enough to stress out a supercomputer, right? Sure. But you tell it, be like, hey, if you need to, all the machines are here to build more CPUs, more processing power.
Right.
If you need the processing, I'm going to give you the ability to make more processing power. If you need it, go ahead and use it. It's going to do it.
It only understands the task it was told to do.
The information given.
Right.
So if there is Joe the scientist in the back gates of this thing going, well, I'm going to tell it. I'm going to give it all the information it needs to build new robots and da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, it's going to fucking do it because that's the task that it's given.
Yeah, it's not nefarious.
Right.
It understands what you told it to do. Let's say it never is conscious and understands itself. It only understands what you told it to do.
And I believe most computers are that way.
I do too, right? But
can AI...
Now, here's my problem. I have an example, okay?
Okay.
You know CAPTCHA?
Yes.
So for everybody listening who doesn't understand the actual term of CAPTCHA, when you go on some website and it tries to get you to prove that you're not a robot, CAPTCHA is pick the pictures that show the street light or the bus or whatever, right? That's what CAPTCHA is, okay? Yep. They asked an AI to sign up for various websites and programs and things like this, and a few of them had the CAPTCHA. The AI doesn't understand deception or lying. All it knew was, I was told to sign up for these websites. Mm-hmm. Well, since it couldn't pass the CAPTCHA, but it understood what TaskRabbit was, it went on, hired a TaskRabbit. I mean,
yep.
The person at TaskRabbit who asked it, oh, are you an AI trying to get me to do this? Well, obviously I'm not an AI. I'm visually impaired because all the computer understood was the program. That's what I can say to get this person to do what I want, and it's a reason why. Yep. It doesn't understand deception. It's not nefarious. It's if you tell something to do something, like, hey, I need you, let's say they get the fastest one ever. I need you to fix the environment. If all it understands is, well, the environment will be fixed if we just kill all the people.
Right.
Skynet.
Yep.
I know it's a crazy big example, but
the thought is there, though, because it's going to try to do what it needs to do, right? If you tell it to do something, an AI, dude, the only thing that AI has passed or can't pass online is the exam to be a tax accountant.
Oh, right. Yeah.
It's passed the doctor's bar.
You know, it
the
passed,
lawyer's bar.
It passed the New York State bar exam in 47 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Because it has all the knowledge, right?
Yep. It has everything it needs
all
to.
The knowledge, right?
One study guidebook for that bar is online. It found the book and it just, there you go. But it cannot figure out the U.S. tax code.
Who the fuck could? That tells you something
problem,
right now, right? Yeah, that tells you something right there. Yeah.
But I wanted to touch on this because I pulled up this deal, bringing it back into construction a little bit.
Yep.
60% of all of the AI research in the construction industry has happened in the past 10 years.
Sure.
That means that there is so much more research and growth.
Right.
It's going to keep
and a lot
snowballing.
Of that. Yeah, and a lot of that, from what I could find, is 3D research modeling, where you can look at the existing state with AR headsets,
AR, VR,
what the future would look like, what the process. Like, it's not about taking away jobs. It's about people being able to see what the process is currently, future.
I'd love to look through a set of those AR
I want
goggles.
to try to. Yeah, I want to try to.
Oh, dude, that's a light fixture. That's a ductwork. Like
the finish on the wall. Oh, that's what the floor is going to look like.
Right.
Oh, wait.
Oh, this is where the cabinet's going. Sweet.
And no, now wait. Oh, there's cabinets there. That doesn't show on the print, although it's here. Oh, we need to plant. There's a lot of that.
Yep.
So there's interesting things about it. I don't think it's going to spin down the area of, like I said earlier, Skynet or anything. It's not going to be nefarious. Now, there was a couple of funny things that I found that I just thought I'd bring up to you. Okay, buddy. So you're familiar with CPAP machines?
Oh yeah.
People that have breathing issues and things like that. And then there's BiPAP as well. I didn't know what that was, but it mentioned both of them. Smart pillows connected to the internet in your home. It will nudge you in your sleep in the direction of
to get you to stop
to
snoring.
get you back on your side, to stop snoring, to wake up. I mean, how long, if the things did get nefarious, how long before that thing just snap your neck in the middle of the night? Like,
just like, hey, you're causing me too much distress.
Right. And I mean, like I said, not just self-driving cars, but any of the equipment, big equipment, things like that. You brought up a point earlier, though, that what happens when someone gives it the ability to build new machines, to rebuild itself, to build something? That's a problem for me.
Yeah, I would agree.
When you give these systems control to make changes to themselves, if they only understand the task they were given and efficiency, it's a real narrow window with no nuance. And I could give you 50 examples off the top of my head where it's a big problem. Right. Real simple little ones.
Yep.
Like real simple. We talked about Google Gemini earlier. Like,
right.
But something funny I did see, I want to mention before I forget it. So they are in the development right now of machines that not only can see and hear and sense. We've talked about that stuff and analyze not just construction sites, but lots of different businesses.
Yeah.
But ones that can also, and I'm not joking, smell. You know how they have dogs that are in the hospital that train to smell cancer or sense people's seizures, things like that?
Yep.
Man, they're already using AI to take animal jobs away. You think they give a fuck about us? Like, those dogs don't even have their jobs anymore. Like, what are we doing here?
And, you know...
See,
I didn't even see that one. That bothers me so much.
It bugged me a little bit.
That bothers me so much. No, motherfucker, leave it alone. Let the goddamn dog do what is God. He's happy doing that. Leave him alone.
Yeah, we got a dog doing a good job. You're trying to fuck him up. Yeah, like they're even taking jobs already. Dog jobs is what an adult would say.
I got a real goddamn problem with that.
I said that. That's why I brought it up, man. That one bugged me kind of a little tiny bit.
Fucking assholes.
So on that note, so I think we've made our point around construction. I believe there's a problem with the amount of jobs we're going to lose. I put right in the bottom of my notes here, job replacement. That's my concern. It's not happening real soon in construction, but there's lots of businesses, coding you mentioned earlier, okay?
Yep.
Data entry, customer service.
Yep.
How long before you're talking to anybody in India anymore?
I'd be all right with that.
You know, right?
Just not have to talk to...
Before it's all automated.
But see, that's the thing. So Google is on the path of doing personal assistance, right? Yep. So you need to call, you need to schedule a hair appointment. You need to schedule a doctor's appointment. You can just say, hey, find me a doctor's appointment for X.
Right.
It will call, and it's in the process. They haven't released it. It will call the doctor's office. It will talk to the scheduling person like it is a normal person. They will come to a conclusion on what day, what time, and then it will put it in your calendar for you. Like,
even more than that, it doesn't even need to talk to the person in the office, because how long before it's your digital AI assistant and the one at the office just making all these... Boom. That's one job right there. And every office, at least one scheduler who answers the phone, schedules, manages.
Yep.
Boom. That's just gone now, right? And that's every office. That's dentist, doctor, regular, just normal everyday businesses. Mm-hmm.
Right.
But if you wanted to do that, John, well, you're going to have the AI access to your calendar.
Right.
And also the GPS data from your car, because it's going to need to know how long it normally takes you to get somewhere and what your normal traffic patterns are. You got to give up all your freedom, buddy, if you want these things.
But at the same time, anybody that has ever opened an app or downloaded an app and you say yes to the user agreement, you signed your data over right when you click that button.
Oh yeah, a lot of people
ever looks at it.
A lot of people don't understand that, right?
Oh, they're storing my data, dude. Your data is well stored. It is. The last time I heard, our lovely government, has 5,000 data points on every single citizen in the United States.
Oh,
5,000.
Look, and take it from a guy like me who's an immigrant to this country. My old man, before he died, God rest his soul, he used to ask all the time when we'd be having phone conversations like, hey man, don't say stuff like that. Like, are you worried about what there's... Man, they are listening. Don't worry about them listening. They're definitely listening. Or a program is picking up keywords.
Yep.
They'll know I'm talking about hunting, not getting a gun to shoot up a school or whatever, right? Like, yeah. But,
they know.
But he had that in his head.
Yeah.
Like, and that's how a lot of people still think.
Yep.
Like, and you make the point. If you've got a smartphone, they're tracking you.
Yep. Absolutely. If you think they're not, and that you've done everything that you possibly... Look, if you don't want your data tracked, get rid of your phone.
Right. Do you know what I mean? Like,
oh, I have to turn on GPS, but I don't share my location, but I need to turn on my GPS to get to this point. That's shared information.
We haven't even gotten into the big things here. All right. So I think, buddy, we've set our standard as far as how we feel about construction. That's still a ways away. That's a real lots of balls in the air, complicated system. All right.
Right.
Let's talk about some of the really scary areas. What do you think?
Can we take a pause for a second?
All right. Let's take a pause for a coffee break, folks. We'll come back for part 2.
Part 2 coming up. Hey, everybody. It's break time. Jason and I are going to take a quick minute, refill our coffee cups. You should do the same. But while you do that, we want to give a quick shout out to Jesse M. Jesse bought us a few beers on our Buy Us a Beer widget on our website at icelpodcast.com. Jesse, your donation really does help us move forward in this podcast and lets us do some pretty cool things. So from everybody here at the Ice Shower After Work podcast, we thank you, sir. Yes.
All right, yeah, thanks. There's nothing worse, John. I'd take a leak there. There's nothing worse than trying to hold a thought in your head when you got to take a piss. Holy
God, my
stuff.
bladder was going to fucking explode.
Yeah, that's rough. We got to take a little break occasionally, folks. So, buddy, we haven't gone quite far down the rabbit hole as I was hoping today. I want to see how far we can spin here real quick. We've talked about construction. We've done our part. Let's talk about the problems that could arise with this if it goes full Terminator Skynet. All right?
Okay.
So again, I've mentioned him before, young Joe that kind of explained this to me. I had him break it down for an idiot construction worker like me. How does the progress and development of these systems happen? And he tried to put it in a way that made a lot of sense to me. So imagine if, because we've talked, the roadblocks to artificial intelligence are the chips and the processing power they have, the amount of information that you can feed it, and how much actual electricity and power you can physically give it to run all these systems, to make all these zillions of computations at the same time. So what he tried to explain to me was they have basically what would be a knob turning up the volume, and one of these knobs is the amount of computing power it has and electricity put in, and the other one is the amount of access to information it has. But a giant wheel. Imagine a wheel 10 feet across, and on this wheel, on one portion, is a weight. Say it's 50 pounds. It takes you a certain amount of effort to spin this wheel to get the weight up. You're fighting against it, but at a certain point, it hits the top of that wheel, and the weight takes over, and you got no control anymore. That's what could happen. That's was his explanation to me. Now, I'm no computer genius or anything, but the way he explained that, I'm like, okay, that kind of makes sense.
Sure.
So on that note, once they start to, if they do, give control of various parts of what is now computer controlled but under the supervision of people, if they start to give some of these controls over to an artificial machine learning intelligence of some kind, it has the potential to get real squirrely. So let's start small. Okay?
Right.
Let's say we were talking about something simple as all the street lights and traffic control in your town.
Right.
Seems like a fairly efficient thing that a computer that has historical knowledge and things could get control of, right? What happens if that thing all of a sudden not just glitches, but through its experience knows, oh, no. Every time this happens, traffic is fucked for 6 hours. We're just going to divert all the traffic right now.
Well, there's that.
Okay. If that could easily then fall under the auspices of, well, it's really about getting emergency response vehicles to certain places at a certain time. Then it's shutting down cars or not accessing certain lanes because it'd have to have control of lighting systems,
Right.
traffic barriers.
Right.
All of a sudden, that's one real small, simple thing in the grand scheme of things that if it gets control of that,
Wow. Yeah.
okay,
Okay. Step further.
Okay.
Same point, right? So I don't know if you remember years ago when the first computers for the cars for the auto backup and park deal, people were hacking into them and driving them off the road.
Sure they were.
Okay. So in that aspect, oh, hey, we need to get emergency vehicles through here. AI is just going to take over your rig and pull you off the side of the road.
Irregardless of where you were trying to get. Is your wife pregnant?
Right. Is it in a safe spot? Yeah. Is it in the middle of a freaking intersection? Yeah. Or is it in a ditch?
Is it hailing?
Right.
Were you driving that fast because a tornado was coming up behind you?
Yeah. Or are you going over a bridge?
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
And that specific part of control, there is also developments in different forms of technology that would have to work like this. So we've all heard about, well, not all, but if you haven't heard, the self-proclaimed super genius of Elon Musk has a company, division of his company called Neuralink.
Uh-huh.
Right now, it's something as simple as helping people who can't speak or move their limbs in a chip or
MS.
some sort of something in their
Yep.
brain. That's going to have to be integrated with those computer systems. And a side note to that, they're also developing for what we talked about earlier about computer games and things, where you would have a haptic feedback suit that not only gives you feelings, some sort of vibration or something, but if a gamer or someone really wanted the real experience, they have ones that are inducing pain, so the experience is more
And
realistic.
first-person shooters. Yep.
If it has control of that,
Wow.
someone hacks in, it might not even just be the nefarious Skynet computer system.
Right.
If you have control of that, those are the simple things. I mean, you mentioned self-driving vehicles. Man, I'm worried about all the cars in the road be controlled by a central place. Like, it'd be nice to get driven home drunk, just sit in your car and go take me home. Like, right?
I mean, there are benefits. There are definite benefits.
It's not all negative.
Hey, I've got a medical emergency and I don't have anybody that can take me to the hospital and the ambulance is going to be here. I need to go.
Right.
Right? I get it. Oh, Skynet's okay for that.
Say,
But what about the necessities of life, right? Because AI is they've already integrated AI into a lot of the power systems,
right.
right? What about that? Like, okay, so all of a sudden the AI needs more power to run. Is it going to steal it from somebody?
Right. That's the other volume knob I was talking about that I got from Smart Joe, right?
Right.
It's the actual physical power needed. Now,
I've got numbers on how much power they're projecting on that.
okay, see,
too, by the way.
I'm interested because I didn't look that up, so I'm glad you got it, because that's exactly what you said is the exact point. They would be in small towns, big towns.
Yep.
When the corporation not only will give whatever it needs to that, they don't care that your internet goes out for a couple hours or you lose power or whatever, as long as the AI keeps going, because that's what's making them money.
Right.
And who's probably in control of the decision to make that? Most likely another AI. So give me your
Right.
numbers, man. Like, what are you seeing? My understanding is it's a ridiculous amount of power.
It is a stupid amount of power.
Okay.
Okay. So, and this is this is from Yale Environment. I found this, and I got a couple of different ones too, but they're saying that in 2027, projected 3 years out,
That's not far.
right? The amount of data or the amount of power, electrical energy that is going to be needed for the AI is anywhere between 8 and 100 terawatts or 1,000 terawatts. 8 or 1,000 like, okay, so if we can put that into perspective, even let's bring that number down. Let's go 100 terawatts. The state of Minnesota annual usage is 62 terawatts.
Right.
For the entire state, right? There is no way, and they're already saying the people behind the AI are already eyeballing fossil fuels again because they know damn well that the solar and the wind energy isn't enough.
Google has bought a location for a data center for this specific purpose with a nuclear power plant right there.
Yep.
Right next door, exclusive to them. They bought it for that specific.
Yep.
I'm amazed this woke crowd of the population, who is a lot of Silicon Valley, right? Like, let's admit, they're all pretty progressive people for the most part, right?
Right.
All of a sudden it was, yeah, no more fossil fuels, protect the environment. And now they're turning around going, yeah, but you know what? We kind of need a nuke plant to keep Johnny AI going over here. Like,
Yep. But I've said it before, and I'm taking a hard stance on this one. Nuclear energy is the only way that we're going to be able to sustain anything.
we've talked about it before.
Get rid of solar. Get rid. Sorry, the job trailer is
The
draining right now.
the air conditioning just came on. Sorry, folks.
That's the sump pump.
That's probably not good. We don't have any water in our feet, so we're okay. Sorry to digress there, kids.
We've had so much rain here. The job trailer in my house is draining a lot. So bear with us. You probably heard it earlier because it kicked on. But so the AI is in all these data centers, right? You just mentioned it, right? Google got one with a nuclear power plant attached, right? So the amount of not only electricity, the amount of water, millions
Cooling,
of gallons of
cooling.
water.
Yep.
Because the data centers are all water cooled,
Right.
every one of them. And there's a projection that in the next, what does it say here? Data center electricity consumption in 2026 will be double that of 2022 at 1,000 terawatts. They're planning on the estimates of data centers. Now, these are called cloud data centers, right? They're full of servers, and they have to stay cool. They're expecting there's a increase to go from 9,000 to 11,000 more by 2026 globally.
Right.
Right. I mean, the power consumption, it's not going to treat us well. So they're going to put AI in charge of water plants,
So that
power plants.
so that it's run in the most efficient manner.
Exactly.
Right.
So, you know what? Guess what it's not going to care about? Aunt Sally in the middle of winter.
And that's exactly what I was getting at here. That's one of the scary, realistic possibilities here.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to want these things run in the most efficient way. And if you're trying to tout that the AI is the most efficient way to run them, then you're going to give it control. And if it's not even nefarious, as we've said, it's just going on the data it knows. Well, it understands we need to keep all the computing power going. We need to keep all the memory of all the lessons we've learned and all the computer interactions that make up the digital brain.
Yep.
And even if it isn't thinking in a conscious format, just from a basic logical thought process for a computer,
Yep.
well, I can't let myself get shut off because I need to do all these other things. And one of my priorities is keeping going. So, right, fuck Aunt Sally down the road. I don't care that it's minus 20 in the middle of Minnesota. We got to keep the power going for this thing because it controls.
Yep.
That concerns me a lot.
That concerns me a lot.
Not that it's doing it in a negative way, anti of people. That just the programming in itself leads it to a decision that's not good for fucking anybody.
Yep, exactly.
And we haven't even talked about weapon systems.
Oh God, don't let it have control over our military because we're going right after Russia at that point.
Oh, hold on. I totally agree with what you're saying about don't let it, but you're thinking a different weapon system than I am, my friend. You're thinking tanks and boats and planes and guns and bombs. Okay?
I'm thinking nuclear.
Yeah, right.
That's why I brought up Russia.
But there's the other vastly scary weapon system right now. Its ability to manipulate media.
Oh, yeah.
The more it has
Contraband or wrong word.
I know what you meant. You do mean contraband. You were thinking of. I'm going to give you a minute, man. Propaganda. Come
Propaganda,
on. But
yeah.
not even propaganda.
Propaganda.
Not only that someone could control how information is being seen, routed, developed, given to you, but if it had been programmed to say, don't show this kind of information because that's bad and only show this, it's a real quick jump to affecting not just big elections, geopolitics, local city elections that now understands, well, if this mayor gets in this town, then we'll have one more from this political party in this town and be more likely to do this bigger thing down the road with the state. That sort of weaponized control of what we see and hear and are told, that scares the shit out of me. And that's way more likely and probably already kind of going on right now than controls of the nukes.
Yeah.
Right? Because
that's full Skynet.
Right. That control of leading people into what they think and how they believe in decisions, how they vote, all that stuff, that just leads to those other problems of wars and Russia later.
Well, and that's the deal is when it comes to global economy, wars are not fought like they used to be, right?
Certainly not.
We have horrible wars. People are dying. Like, I understand it. I get it. I'm not insensitive to that. But anymore, it's more of an economic war.
Oh, it has been for quite a long time, right?
You destroy a country by destroying its economics. Now, how easy is it for freaking AI to do that? Even right now. Realistically, it's pretty fucking easy.
I think some of that's going on right now, which is why I brought it up. That's the weapon. That's the weaponization that I'm worried about, right?
I would definitely agree with you. And it's a very short jump into something that's way worse.
Oh, certainly it is. Yeah.
right?
In a generation right now that's really, really impressionable by everything they see on social media.
Yep.
They see 15 seconds of something and all of a sudden they're holding the sign out at a protest. We've seen it on the news where they have no idea what they're protesting.
Right.
They have no idea about the issues. Oh, no, this is my social media feed says this thing is evil and I'm on this side.
Right.
They don't do no research. They don't do no fucking educating themselves.
Stop it with TikTok
Yeah, right. Yeah.
and Snapchat.
Yeah. We've
Knock it off.
We intentionally stay away from politics and stuff on this show because it's not what we want to be about. Although we know it's a big thing, especially for people in construction. We hold some real hard stances on stuff.
Right.
There are certainly some global problems and conflicts going on right now that are being negatively or misleading.
Skewed.
Thank you for perfect. Skewed.
Yep.
The way people upper-ups wanted to be seen. I mean, that's not good, buddy.
Right. Well, and it was, I don't want to get too far into politics, but from what I understand, in 2013, it became perfectly legal for the U.S. government to send out propaganda. It used to be illegal up until then. So if you, and I've done some actual research on it, if you look at people that are holding seats of power in our government, their spouses run most of the major news channels.
There's so much of that cross control the things. Absolutely, right?
So it's our new currency is attention and information, right? Dude, AI could very easily modify all of that.
Yeah, be used to show you exactly what it wants you to think.
Yep.
And that even comes down to a more simpler point of just public perception of anything at all.
Yep.
Like, let's even step away from politics, right? Let's say government is smart enough to keep it away from that, which
They're not.
I have a solution, but we'll come to that in a minute. Even if it's just how they can, on the fly, update advertisements to you based on how people are interacting on the internet. No, that's not good. Change the avatar to look more like this. Let's put a fishing cap on them on the fly instantaneously by the information it's getting back, manipulating you for the financial gain of the company that set that up.
Yep.
We know it's been happening with TVs and things for years, but when it can happen so quickly, moment to moment, to optimize the amount of people that look at it, buy the product, get the people on the fence to click.
You want to hear a really like crazy thing?
Yeah, please.
Right there. Very simple. Very simple. Scroll through your Netflix accounts, all the movies and shit, and notice the movies that you know what the covers are of the actual movies to the images that they actually are showing for the movie.
Yeah.
They're different.
They're very different. Right?
And they cycle them. They change from month to month, week to week, because they're trying to figure out which one causes the most clicks on it.
Right. Who starts watching this movie from the little trailer clip we showed, right?
Yep. Or just the little picture of the movie.
Absolutely, right. Just the thumbnail, right?
Yep, just the thumbnail.
Now scale that up to we just talked about geopolitics, World Economic Forum. Get the fuck out of here, man.
It's not a far jump.
No, it's
especially for AI, especially for a computer-based program that is just doing what it's told to do.
Right.
It'll do it just like that.
Right. I don't know that it will ever have what people would consider consciousness because we can't even really define what consciousness is for us, right? But when something is just going to do what it's told without question, all it knows is I need to complete X task. It doesn't care what the task is.
Yep. I need more positive support on this part. I'm going to get that. Plain and simple.
Right. And there it is right there, buddy. Like that's going to be, I don't even think it's going to be. I believe that's happening right now.
Yeah, I believe it is.
I think that's an issue, like literally at the moment. Now, it's, like I said, it's not just a matter of making real decisions through any sort of emotion or thought or whatever it has, right? There's also some positive things here. They could, if they point this tool in the right direction, you don't think that maybe if they, hey, AI, okay? I created a new AI. I'm calling it the John Smith AI. John, I want you to take all the research that you can get access to ever done for child leukemia or cancer and figure out why they haven't solved this problem yet. That could be a positive thing. And I think these gigantic learning models, I think they might be able to find some of the missed connections that might solve things like this.
Right.
Hunger in places where they've had famine. Oh, a simple adjust. I think it could be pointed in the right direction to have some positive net gains.
I think it really could.
But are the people who invested the money to do this going to be altruistic enough to point that tool in the right direction? Or are they going to use it to make more goddamn money, which is what they do with every fucking thing they get?
It's going to be, people are greedy, people are assholes.
Right.
That's what I've learned in all of my 42 years. People are greedy, people are assholes. Most people are. The people that are going to have an influence on AI are not the type of people that are willing to give back to the world.
Right.
They don't have that control because they're out there actually doing things for people doing it.
Right.
They're not sitting behind a desk, putting in algorithms, building code for AI. They're not the ones that are, I would love it. I would 100% love it if we gave AI the task. I don't care how long it takes you, find a cure for cancer. The problem is the pharmaceutical companies and the doctors don't want that because they make too much money.
And there it is. It's not about what is best for the people. It's about what they can use it for. Because the government isn't ever going to give us control. And I keep saying government. So we should digress here for a quick minute. This isn't just government doing this. It's multiple countries, multiple independent organizations, some of whom we know, some of who are what do you call a black site, where we don't even know they're working on it.
Yep.
There's lots of people not bragging about trying to get AI. They want to keep quiet under the radar, and then they can use it for whatever the fuck they want to.
Yep.
There's also that going on, right? But let's presume for a moment that a reasonable government is the ones who fund this, get control of it, or even a company, okay?
Yep.
Even if they did come out to the general public and say, what do you want it to do? They're not going to let us vote on it.
Oh, God, no.
They're not even going to use public opinion.
No.
We're never going to get that out of it, right? Because, and I had what I think is a fairly genius independent thought, if I do toot my own horn here. I know how to get government to slow this whole process down.
Hit me with it.
It is, as the date of this recording, it's June 3rd, folks. If anybody else tries to claim this, they can't do it. 2024. The first thing we do is tell AI to examine all the financial records of all the people in government and report back. Motherfuckers.
Yeah.
You want to let the AI loose to do things good for the world? I want to track all your little things you did, all your purchases you made, all your investments you made. They're going to cross-reference that all with people you know and contacted on the phone and had emails with. You guys are fucked. Yep. That's the first thing we ought to do.
Yep.
Point it back at the government and go, hey,
I like that idea.
AI, find out who's fucking around a little bit, because we know there's some of that going on.
Oh, of course
they would pump the brakes so fast.
Right.
But they're never going to use it for what we tell them to do. That would only be if the society as a whole could say, we get control of what it does, cure cancer, check the government.
Yep.
Solve the hunger. Why can't vets get proper medical? Right.
Well, and there's the problem right there. Therein lies the problem, right? If the people were given the ability to do that, I can't even, that's never going to fucking happen. AI is created by big tech, right? Which they fucking control everything.
Or some foreign government who doesn't believe things that we believe at all.
Right. There's
other countries and places that are developing this that don't think the same way we do about shit at all. Right. Personally, globally, societally, at all.
Right.
Could be one of them people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they could point it at whatever they want. Shut down our infrastructure.
Yep.
Fuck our economy up.
Yep. Take and crash the stock market. Permanently.
Possibly permanently, right? It doesn't even need to be the stock market, man. We've talked before. Shut the power off in this country for a week. It's Mad Max.
Chaos.
It's real
it's straight fucking chaos.
Yeah, it'd be real bad.
Yep.
So, other than that, man, though, I mean, we could talk about how problematic or good we think this is going to be going forward. Let me put you on the spot here before we start to wrap up, buddy. Okay.
Yeah.
Is this a useful tool going forward, an inevitable part of the technological development of our species?
Yep.
Or is it fucking Skynet, dude? What do you think?
Well, there goes the skeptic side of me, because I can see both. I think misused, it'll fuck us over 100%. I think it can be great. I think it can be great in every single industry if we hold it to a certain level of expectations, certain guidelines, try to keep it inside of a box, right? If we let it run free, who knows what it can fucking do.
And see, you bring up a great point that I was actually going to kind of close on here. So you just tripped over that one automatically. That's good. At some point, it only makes sense for the people that will create and develop these things to give a program the autonomy to improve itself. That sounds like the Pandora's box if I ever heard of it, man.
I mean, yeah, like welcome to the Matrix, right? I think if we were to allow it at some point, it's that big wheel. It's that big wheel. We're going to end up giving it enough information and enough knowledge to let it run free.
That the weight and the power
the weight's just going to take over.
Yeah.
And the problem is that AI is smart enough already to reallocate itself. If a server drops out, it knows to go somewhere else. It'll find another location to live in.
Yep.
And when you have a country with 3,000 data centers that are all tied to the grid, that are all tied to the infrastructure, because if people don't know, you have data trunk lines, fiber trunk lines that are all over this country. From end to end, north to south, east to west. They cover every fucking area in this country.
Yeah, look up on the map the amount of railroad tracks around this country, and then 10 times that.
Easily.
Yeah.
Easily.
It's wild.
And they're not slow speed lines,
No.
right? They're instantaneous. So it knows to go somewhere else. It will save itself already. Like, you can't, like, can you pull the plug on it? It's already loose, man. And it's just going to keep going.
Right. So I want to be optimistic too. I would like to think that this is going to be, yes, they're going to use it for their own financial gain, but I would also hope that part of this tool is going to be pointed at things that will make everything better for everyone, at least in some small areas. Like, yeah, if you want to use it to make money, this percentage of the time and that. But my biggest thing is not only is it inarguable that these systems can think and process so much faster than people. Yep. They can do it at a global scale of all the information ever.
Yep.
Not just in the one thing they're looking at. They can pull from any resource on the internet, which is almost literally all of human history, but it goes 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, nonstop. If it starts running in a certain direction, it just simply will go so much faster than we can anticipate. I don't believe people have any idea. Even the smart people working on this, I don't even think they really know what it's going to be able to do.
I don't think they can because we've never been there before.
You can't. I don't think they can make the connections in their mind of what they're doing.
Is there a kill switch? Is there?
Who the fuck knows?
I want to know that. If anybody knows, hit us up. Is there a kill switch to AI that will just delete everything?
But also, it's not everybody's AI because, as we just talked about, so many different companies, countries, organizations, people around the world are doing this.
Yep.
If all of a sudden...
Do you think it could end up making itself into one AI just by itself? Is that a possibility? Hey, ChatGPT looks at AI 4. You're mine now. Fuck you.
Are some of these programs what they call sandbox? And I'm not super smart. I learned that from a smarter person I know. Where they
Apple sandbox.
They keep it self-contained for a while. But at some point, if you really want this thing to progress, don't you just let it loose? Like your kid, you've taught it what you can in the crib at home, but eventually it's got to experience the world if you want.
Right.
And the people who are progressive and don't think this is going to be terrible, and I don't mean progressive as in liberal or Democrat or anything like that. I mean progressive as in forward-thinking technology-wise.
Yep.
They're going to think it's a great thing to let this thing loose.
Right.
And
I don't know. I think it could do great. I don't have high hopes for it. I think it's going to go south. I think it's going to be bastardized. I think it's going to be marked. I think it's going to be tainted by people that have no right having any kind of control over it.
I'm going to leave it at that, buddy. That sums it up perfectly. That's exactly how I feel.
All right. Well, then we come back around the table and we're right on the same page.
Yeah.
Again, as we usually do.
Folks. When we originally talked about this episode, I told John, I said, you pick your perspective and I'll just argue the other point. But we agreed a while ago, as we did our research for this, it's hard not to be optimistically pessimistic about what it could do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm concerned, but hey, I mean,
it was really hard to find. And so everybody knows, I took the stance of I don't want it.
Right.
I don't want it in construction. I don't want it in the world. The further you dig into it, if you keep an open mind, it's just like, that would actually kind of be helpful here, but not here. But here it's okay.
Right.
Like,
yeah, who points the tool in the direction that they want is what is going to eventually answer these questions that we're talking, and lots of people are talking about right now.
Yeah.
So yeah. I like your perspective, buddy. It's good.
Well,
Final
Jason,
thoughts, man?
Honestly, I don't have any final thoughts, dude. I'm happy John brought this up. I'm happy he had us dive deeper into this, because it was really cool just to dig deep into something that I do have a lot of love for, because it's tech.
And it's interesting.
And it's such a big part right now. So thanks, John, for letting us dive into this one a little bit further for you. But I don't know, man. Bring it.
It's not like we have any choice in the matter.
Right?
So
we're going to ride the wave.
We're going to definitely ride the wave. And if somebody does have any information about said kill switch, please reach out to us. So thanks again. Shout out to John Littlefield for giving us the idea of what we're going to talk about today. As always, everything is at ISOP Podcast. You can reach us at 507-607-ISOP if you want to leave John or I a message. We have the new email addresses. It's either john@isoppodcast.com, jason@isoppodcast.com, or one to both of us is hosts, plural, at isoppodcast.com.
Yep.
Please reach out, and if you've got a subject that you want us to listen to, John, I mean, obviously this was fun.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, send us an email. Get on the website, sign up, send us an email. Let us know who you are and what you got going on. And two, we'd love to dig deep into a conversation. Coming up in the future, everybody, just so everybody knows, we have another one from one of the guys that actually he's a follower. Paul wants us to dig deeper into the EV side.
Oh, great. Okay.
And what that looks like. So
yeah, we're going to have to look at we need a whole episode on EV. You have a real hard stance on that, buddy.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to that one too. So as always, anybody reach out to us on any of the socials. If you got anything you want to look at, you want us to hear, you want to send us, please do. John and I are always interested in interacting with everybody. And shameless plug, if you do want to help out this little free podcast we put every week, please check out the Buy Us a Beer app on our website, as John did today to help us out with this one. And I guess until next time, everybody, be safe, get home safe, watch out for the new digital overlord that's coming up here soon. And unless I forget anything, John, what do you got to say, buddy?
You did forget the motto, man.
I did.
Your work keeps the world working.
Your work keeps the world working. Thank you, everybody, and we'll listen to you. Pardon me. We hope you'll listen to us next week.
Sláinte, brother.
Sláinte. Thanks, everybody.